Hello everybody, peace, welcome to another episode, and today I'm going to be talking about a topic related to a previous topic I talked about, which was limerence. This topic is all about feeling possessiveness, feeling a little jealousy towards someone because it's related to your spouse.
From beautiful seas to flourishing legacies.
The previous video that I recorded, I had so many people give me comments, just personally speak to me as well. I remember someone said that this topic of, love and cheating and limerence is something that is so predominant in so many cultures. There's like this shame related to it that we don't like to talk about it sometimes. And I also hope that this one is going to benefit you as well. So this one is about jealousy. As Muslims, there's this thing that which really guides our actions. It's this sentiment, is this feeling, this character trait, right? And it's the character trait of modesty, also known as haya, right? So modesty is something that is not just related to the way we dress. It is not just related to the way we look. It's in fact related to a character trait. It's the trait of shyness, to do with mannerisms. And what happens with this modesty is when it is trespassed in one way or another, maybe there's this boldness that you've overstepped someone's boundary and you've hurt them, and the modesty in your action towards them cause them pain, and then there's a shame, a natural shame that comes from this, and it's a healthy shame as well. That's what the shame comes from. So modesty in itself is a good thing. It's a character trait. In fact, it's the character trait that we speak of, that defines so much of Islam in itself. So I know that there's a lot of nuances. I just want to say, I know there's a lot of nuances. It's not always black and white, and this is an issue that affects us in different ways, and we all have different capacities as well. But I just want to speak to those of you who feel uncomfortable when your husband or another woman is trying to talk to your husband or your spouse, if you're a brother and your wife, and you're, the same kind of thing in reverse, right, is happening. I just want to let you know that it's very normal and it is very natural to feel jealous over this situation, right? It does not mean that you are lesser than. Your feelings are very valid, and in Islam it is something that is acceptable, and it is something that is there for a reason, because our character of religion is haya, it is modesty, right? Now, I know realistically that we live in a world that we work with the opposite gender. It is very normal. We interact with them. But then that's where this character comes in, right? It's this character of modesty. And because the lines are so unclear and they are so blurry sometimes, people can trespass a boundary. And that's why I talked about the concept of limerence. Because what happens is that there's this act that might happen from the opposite gender towards your spouse, and then there's this lack of understanding that, hey, you're trespassing into an emotional territory that is for the wife to be in, and that doesn't feel good. The natural anger comes. We've talked about anger many times, and it is normal to feel angry. It is normal to feel a little bit jealous. It is normal to feel like, hey, that's not okay. And I say this because there are some women who would approach married men, and there are some men who would approach married women, and they try to give them counsel. Like, they try to counsel them. They try to have emotional connections with them. They try to talk to them about, all of the things which are bothering them. And yeah, it's not okay. And by the way, this is not just an Islamic thing. This is something that is even with non-Muslims. And what happens is when that emotional connection is made, then what happens is the spouse ends up falling into a very dangerous territory, because they are entering this stage of, hey, it might be a wound between the wife and the husband. There might be an issue. And then that's the time that the devil will come and make it his mission to break it up even more. And then something enters the heart at this vulnerable time, right? Because it's always through a wound, right? So yeah, it's very, very normal. And I made this video to let you know it is very, very normal to feel like it's not okay for other women or other men to approach your spouse and talk to them in a certain way that you feel is not okay with you. And it's important. The next step is just important to talk to your spouse about it. Talk to your spouse about it. Tell them how you feel. Try not to use words that would cause harm or things that would cause harm, like throwing things at them. And you could probably think of your own drama, but just talk to them about it. And also accept something about yourself, that there are some things that don't feel good to you. You are human, and there is a reason why your body is reacting the way it is. And some of us might react more in extreme ways as well. Just for example, the words are, something happens, a spouse just might, glance over there and the woman's like, how dare you do this to me? And, and that might be a little bit of an extreme reaction because there's a lot of trauma related to that as well. So the key here is just to be aware of where these feelings are coming from, and that these feelings exist and they are very normal in circumstances, as long there is balance, right? And communicate with your spouse that, hey, that didn't feel good to me when this person was trying to get your attention in this way and I felt disrespected, or whatever the word comes to you. And I promise you, it is going to feel amazing when it comes out of you, because what tends to happen is when we first get married, we want to be seen as like, oh, I'm so secure, and it doesn't matter what any woman, does or looks like. It doesn't bother me, because I know that I'm fine, right? But let's be real, right? You're not fine, and none of us are fine, and that's absolutely okay. It's okay. And by the way, your spouses might feel that way too. Your husband might feel that way about you. So just hold space for those feelings and just appreciate, acknowledge, and know that they are there for a reason, and work through them with your spouse as well. And there might be some things that they can do to make you feel much safer in the relationship, right? Because a relationship isn't always about having peace with each other, because peace can be something that is dangerously enabling from one side. So one could be abusive, and then the spouse who is the peacemaker is the one who is literally hurting themselves emotionally, physically, in so many ways. So the peace and the harmony exists. That's not peace, right? What you want in a relationship is true peace, and true peace comes with safety. It's safety. It's not enabling and making the other person feel better. Of course, there's always going to be a pull and push, and there's going to be water and fire sometimes, and we complement each other, right? But just understand that safety is the most important thing in a relationship. And if you feel unsafe by the presence of someone else who is in your business like they shouldn't be, then it's time that you brought it to your spouse's attention and let them know, like, this doesn't make me feel safe. It doesn't make me feel good. And I'd really like to work through it with you. And I respect you enough to do this with you, to talk to you about it, instead of approaching the woman and saying, you better back off, right? So I hope you feel validated. I hope you know that you're not alone and it's normal to feel this way. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I want you to know that I am offering one-on-one coaching. I work with the mind and the body together, and also I coach women. I have a group coaching cohort as well, which is going to be opening up very soon. Get on the waiting list if it is not open already. And also there is a free downloadable for you from my book, The Woke Writer. I really hope you find benefit. It's all about surrender. It's all about letting go consciously. And have a beautiful and blessed day, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with me. Peace.